Welcome everyone, just a great song by Mr. Joe Walsh, Ohio boy. This song has some definite technique to it. We'll go over that. It's in standard tuning. I've written all my notes out. They're available below the video. You'll see a link there. Click on that and download them. You can follow along or just follow with the video. We're going to go through all the parts. There's a lot, during the studio version, there's a lot of overdubbed guitars. So I'm going to be focusing on what Joe does live for most of it. I'll show you the slide. If you got a couple guitars, you can add the slide and so forth. The lead is not very difficult. Again, it's melodic and it's well played. So the song starts out with the drum intro, if you will, and then when Joe comes in, he's doing this very specific technique. What he's doing is hitting second fret of the 5th string with a bend, release, and then pull off to open. So you have to get real specific with it. I found pushing up versus pulling down easier, but either way, it will sound like this. So we got the push twice and then the pull off. Then quickly we'd come and hit the 2nd fret of that 5th string, slide up to 4, and then he hits an A chord, okay? So we have this. Now he'll come back with the open to 2, sliding to 4, then he's going to hit the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Then we come to the 3rd fret of the 5th string with a slight pull down, and then hit the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. And then 2 A's, power chords just on the 4th and 3rd string. Alright, so once you get this initial lick down, the rest really kind of follow. Rather than going to A, we're going to hit D and some dead notes before you go back to D, A. But again, getting this down is really essential. So what we have so far at a medium tempo, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we'll repeat that up to the 3rd. When we hit the 3rd and a slight pull down, we're going to hit an actual D. Rather than the D note, the 3rd string on the 2nd fret, we're going to hit the 4th string open with it for a D chord. So it'll sound like this. Then we got 2 chuckas and another D, and then 2 more chuckas and an A. So the second half of this first measure of the intro, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then he does something different when we go to the 3rd measure. It's striking the 2nd fret of that 5th string 2 times bent. The 3rd time he hits it, he'll bend, release, and pull back off to open. So we're kind of going back to that first motif. Then we come again, sliding in 2 to 4 to the 2nd fret of the 4th string. 3rd fret pulled down slightly on the 5th string to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. 2 A's. Alright, so that second measure, first half will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to go back to the first measure, second half. Same exact lick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, this is when it changes up. If you got a couple guitars, one can kind of keep doing that rhythm, but Joe kind of live follows part of the slide and just comes in. So I'll show you what he's doing here. Alright, so he's going to slide from 5 to 4, then hit 2, and then it'll be a little bit quicker the second time. Then he comes in with the open 5th string, slid from 2 to 4, catching 2 on the 4th string. And you slide that up till you get to the 5th position. Alright, we're going to play an A. Oh, I'm sorry, 7th position. So it'll be 4th string, this is an A chord with the 4th root A. So we got the A here at the 4th string, 7th fret, 9th fret of the 3rd string, 10th fret of the 2nd string. Alright, so let me zoom out a little bit and we'll go through this first measure up to those 3 A's. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, now what he's going to do, there won't be any slides in this. He's going to do that first section with the 5, 4 to 2 twice, the second time a little quicker. Go right to A twice before letting off and hitting on a, referencing a D chord. It'd be the 7th fret of the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string. Alright, so it'll sound like this. Alright, so both of those together will repeat for 2 measures. So we're going to do the first one, then the second with the D, then repeat it. So let's go through it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when he comes up to 14, it will sound like this. So he's going to hit it once, twice, and then 2 quick. And a little chucka, and then at the 14th fret, we're going to hammer on the 15th fret of the 2nd string, 16th fret of the 4th string. That's referencing a D. We're going from A to D, right? Hit it again and then off. Alright, now we're into the acoustic part of the intro. Alright, there's 2 guitars. There's really the rhythm with 2 Fs, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, then another 2 Fs, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then he does 2 A minors holding the second one. Then it repeats. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Then we start the actual rhythm of the verse. Alright, so for what the acoustic guitar is doing, I'm just going to kind of tune down, go to the middle pickup here. So we're going to be playing an F to a C, and another F. So that will be done twice. So it's 1, 2, 3. Then that's the first F with the D form, because we got D, E, F. All right, so we're at the 5th position. And then the C will be the first string at the 3rd fret, and the 2nd and 3rd at the 5th fret, and then another down, up, down. And then when we go to another F, our typical, if you played an F chord, we're just playing this triad here, covering the 1st and 2nd string and the 3rd string at the 2nd fret. It's not a da-da-da, it's da-da. So we have this. Again. Then he goes to, basically this is like a C and, I don't know what that note is, who cares? We're covering the 3rd and 2nd and 1st string at the 5th fret. Then we go to a G and then to an A minors. 1st string's open, 1st fret of the 2nd string, 3rd fret of the 3rd string. Now we repeat the first half of the measure. Now this will change. We're going to hit this, we'll just call it a C chord, add, what is that, 7th or 6th, to a G, and then we're going to hit our A twice, and then lift off and hammer back in. So it's off twice on the 3rd and 2nd string, and then hammered back in. So that's the acoustic part. It's really a well-structured part. And then we're into the verse. The verse is kind of a little keyboard bass, but it's real fun to follow along. Joe, when he just sings through it, he doesn't really play anything, but I'll show you the notes for that. Alright, like I said, first verse is really kind of bass, keyboards, and Joe just singing. But it's really fun to play along with, and it gives you something to do as a guitar player. So I'll play through this first verse. It's 2 measures long. The 2nd verse actually extends this out to 4 measures. So for this first verse, it'll sound like this. And then we're into the chorus. All right, so it's very memorable. We're going to start out on the 5th string, 3rd fret, hit that once, come up to the open 4th string, hit that once to 2, 3. That kind of leads us into it. And then we're going to hit three more times before coming back to 2. So this, a little bit hard to show it slower. So let me take it from that part. Alright, now we're going to hit open once and then 3 times till we come back to the 3rd fret of the 5th string. Alright, so those 2 together, 1, 2, 3, 4. The 3, 4 times, we're going to hit it once and then 3 more before we hit 2. We'll come again. Then it changes a little bit. This is the end of the first measure. We're going to hit the open once and then twice before coming to the 5th string at the 3rd fret twice. Alright, so that first measure together, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, now we're going to start again with the 3 to 2. and then open to 3, 3 to 2 again on the 4th string, the shortened open, I should say, it'll go once, then 2 more times before we hit 3, but we're going to pause on 3 before we walk down from 3, 2 to open in the chorus. So let's take the whole last measure together. We'll start from 3 to 2, open to the open with the 3rd of the 5th string, 3 to 2, and then the shortened open to 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're into the chorus. All right, the chorus. Again, I've written this out. That'll really help. It helped me, and once you get it under your, in your head, if you will, the melody, it just flows. All right. So for the chorus, I'm going to go over the chords Joe plays live. He's going to start with the G, go to an F. Think of this F as the middle of it. We're going to be on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string at the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd fret. To a C, and back to G. All right. So he answers kind of this verse with C to G. So we're going to do G, F, C, back to G, and then C, G, C, G. All right? Sing along in your head and you'll be able to follow this. Do the G, back to F and C and G, and then we'll end the chorus with life spin. All right, so we got G, F, C, G. When he goes life spin, he'll start good with C. So we just arpeggiate through the chord. It'll be 5, 4, 3 to 2. Then we move to a B over E minor 7th. So we're just moving the B note and hitting open 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. And then to an A. So all together, the C to B over E minor 7th to A, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, there's another guitar during this. I'll cover that if you have 2 guitars and want to do this, because it is sort of recognizable once it plays some of the notes. So the second guitar that is overdubbed, it's really like a G ninth. Alright, we'll just be at the 10th fret on the 4th, 3rd, 2nd, even the 1st string. And it starts on beat 2. So they'll start, you'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, again, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's every other beat, alright? And then we move to an A minor, to a G, and again, these are triads, so basically that'll be the 4th fret of the 3rd string covering the 1st and 2nd at 3. Then we do this. Alright, so from the top to that point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Alright, now we come back to this A minor, so we're just covering the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st string. We're going to hit it again once and then a quick down, up. Then we'll slide in and come back. So what we're doing between each one, alright, we got the 10. We got the G the first time. G, we're going to hybrid pick. So I pick the third string with a pick, and I use my finger on the first string. We'll do that on the first and third string at 5 to 7. All right, so let me take it from the A minor. It's a real flowing motion. Then we come back to the A minor again. All right, the dot, da, da, da. All right. And then he slides up to the 7th fret of that first and third string, slides back to 5, and then 4 and 3, referencing that G chord. We're just not playing the second string. All right, so from the A minor, both of those, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the other guitar. Again, I've written that out. I only wrote it out once when I do the choruses in this. If you got two guitars, or if that's the way you prefer to play it, Joe just plays the chords and goes through it. Then we're into verse 2. I'm going to go over verse 2 because it's 4 measures long versus 2 measures in the first verse. All right, the first 2 measures of verse 2 are basically the same. The only difference is we don't do the walk up twice. So we're going to do the walk up 3 on the 5th string to open and 2, and then start it. All right. So I'm going to go through both measures so you can see this. With the walk up for the first measure, no walk up the second. Shortened one. Again. Shortened one. All right, now we're going to do really 3 times. Okay, I'm looking at my notes. It's 3 times, so we'll repeat it again. Shortened. All right, this one will include the walk down. So the shortened is even shorter. We only hit the 3 once at the end. All right, so the last measure with the 3-2, then open, back to 3-2, then the shortened shorter. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're into the chorus. Chorus 2 is exactly the same with the chording and everything. So after chorus 2, we're into an electronic drum break, and then the solo starts. The solo has no other guitar. After the solo, there's another electronic drum break, and then we go into Reprise, the intro. The intro is the same for the first 1.5 measures. It's only the last lick that he changes a little bit in the second measure. So I'll play this and then we'll go over it. So that last half of the second measure, he slides in 2 to 4, catching 2, 2nd fret of the 4th string. And then what he does is come real quickly back to the 2nd fret of the 5th string with a bend or release and pull off. And then back to open 2-4 to the A. Then pull down to D and then the chuckas. So that last half of the measure, slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4. And he does everything else the same. Alright, we went over that. You included the 14th fret. And then we're into the acoustic part again. Exactly the same as what we learned. We're going into verse 3. Verse 3 is just like verse 1. It's just 2 measures long. Leads us into chorus 3. Chorus 3 is just like the choruses we've learned. So there's a lot of repeating there. But then we're into the outro. The outro is a lot different. I'll go over the rhythm guitar. It's really, Joe does different things. The main guitar will be doing this. Alright, so we're just hitting an A and then sliding like we do 2 to 4, back to 2, catching 3, pull down to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and then 2 A's. So that first half of the outro rhythm, the rhythm guitar, not what Joe's necessarily playing. Now what we're going to do, we hit an A just before going into the same slide. Then we slide up, but we're going to go into a D. So we know that that rhythm is consistent throughout the end of the song. Of course, there's a slide guitar. I will show you that. But what Joe does, he's just vamping on an A and then eventually A to D. So it's kind of like... So he'll do that 8 times. I've written that out. It's really hitting the A twice, then an A, and then 2 more quickly. Then a slight deadened A before we hit A again, and we'll do that twice. And then 2 A's. It's kind of like the first one. Alright, and then we do that A's twice. So again, I wrote it out. He'll do that 8 times. Then he does this twice. Alright, so we're going to hit, this will be really vamping on the 4th and 3rd string, referencing the chords with a muted A between. So we're going to hit this 2nd fret, 4th and 3rd string, 5th string muted to 5, mute back 5 to 2. Muted to 5, muted back 5 to 2 and held. Then start it again, but this time we're going to slide from 5 to 7. So he'll do that a couple times. So really just jam in this part. I'm going to show you the licks that he plays during this ending, and those are fun to do too and not very difficult. So let's go over the solo next, the ending licks. I'll show you the slide if you want to play that or have somebody who can do that, and then we'll have the whole song. Alright, for this first part of the solo, we're going to be up here at the 14th position. Alright, I'm going to play the first measure and then we'll go over it. So basically we're going to be at the 3rd string 16th fret, bending that up. Then we hit the 2nd string 17, 1st string at 14. Then we're going to do a pre-bend on the 3rd fret and then hit 16 and release it. And then to 14. So all together we have this. Now we're going to start 16 on the 3rd fret again with a bend. Then we come to 14 on the 1st to 17. Kind of the opposite of what we've done. Then we'll land on 16, bend that up slowly with vibrato. You can hear this in your head. I mean, we all know the song, so those first 2 licks together at a medium tempo, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then what we do is hit 16, bend it up, 16 unbent. We'll do that twice before we hit 16 with a bend, release, and pull off to 14. Then we're going to come in with the very first lick. So it kind of ends with the first lick after these 16s. So those 16s together, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, now what he does is he changes position. We're going to go to the 12th position. We're going to hit 14, bent up, catching 12 on the 1st, to 15 on the 2nd string, then to 14, and then hit 14 again bent. Move back to the 14th position, do that exact same lick. Up. He hits 16 twice. That's the key to that. Alright, now while we're at this position, he will hit 17 on the 1st string to 17 on the 2nd before coming back to the 1st string at 14. Then we're going to hit 16 with a pre-bent, releasing to 14. Alright, so let's go through that whole 2nd measure. We're going to start out at the 12th position and end up at the 14th position. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, now we're going to hit 16, bend it, 16 unbent, but we'll do that 3 times before we hit 16 with a bend, release, and pull off to 14. And then do the first lick again. End with the 2nd lick. Alright, at that point, so that's the 3rd measure. Why don't we go through the 3rd measure again with the 3 16 bends before we do the bend and release and the first 2 licks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's a little different. He comes down to the 1st string, 17, and then he comes. It's kind of a 17, almost stop. Then he goes 14 on the 1st string to 17 on the 2nd to 16 on the 3rd unbent. And then hit 16 with a bend. It'll be a slight release of that bend and then a bend again. That 2nd bend takes us into the 1st lick. So let's take it from the 17 and then the 14, 17, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4. to that 12 position. We're going to start out hitting 14 bent and then catching 15 on the second to 12 on the first. Then we hit 14 bent. Then we're going to do a bend, unbent, unbent, bend and bend. Then we're going to do bend, unbent, bend, unbent. So it's 2 of them before we do a bend, release, and pull off to 12, ending on 14. So let's take it from 17 and move back to 12. 12. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then he changes positions all together. All right, we're going to move up to the 17th position. All right, we're going to hit a pre-bend of 20, release it, then 20 again. We'll do that twice. Then we hit 20, 19, 17 on the first string. Is this? Now he does something a little different here. He stretches to 21, pulls that off to 19 on the first string, and then hits 19 on the second string. Then we move to the third string. This will be at 19 to 18. So we have this. Then we come up 4th string at the 14th fret, slide that up to 16, and then we're going to catch 14 on the 3rd string twice to end. Alright, so the last measure, starting with the pre-bends, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is all of the solo. So for the outro, we're back at that 17th position. We're going to be playing on the first string, 19 bent, 19 unbent. We'll do that 4 times before we come back to 17, landing on 18 on the second. Then he moves to the 14th position. So we've done this 19 with a bend, unbent, bent, unbent, bent, unbent to 17, 18. Then when we come to 14, we're going to hit 14 with a bend and then a little vibrato before we release it. Then we come to the second string, 17, 14, and third string, 16, 14. So at the 5th position, we'll do these licks. Alright, so we want to do a little scrape of the 5th and 4th strings, hitting a pre-bent 7, which will release, and then hit 5. Then we catch the second string at 8 and slide to 10. The exact same thing to start it out with. Then we land on 7 on the 4th string. So those 2 licks together. First lick again. Then we land on 8. Bit of vibrato before we come back to that 5th position. We're going to hit the 3rd string 7 bend up before we hit 5. We'll do that twice, landing on the 3rd string 7 to 5 to end that. Alright, the last lick you'll hear will be very similar. So what we're doing, bending 7, catching 5, coming to the 3rd string 7 to 5 before we slide on the 2nd string 8 to 10. And then there's really a lot of jamming in the end. You know, if you play the A minor scale, you'll be fine. Just jam along with that. I'll show you the slide briefly. I'm positive the slide guitar is played in open G. So if you're going to play in open G, just take what I've written out and move everything down 2 frets. So instead of 5, 4, all right, you'll be playing 3, 2, and then open. All right, but for the sake of not retuning, we're going to hit 5, slide to 4, and then hit 2. We'll do that twice. And then we're going to take 2 and slide up to 5. All right. And then we'll hit 2, 5, slid up to 14. All right, so we have this so far. All right, the second time we're just going to slide up to D at the 2nd fret. That's the slide guitar part. Like I said, I'm 100% sure it's open G, and I'm just not bothering to tune down my guitar. I apologize, but just take everything 2 frets down from what I've written out if you want to tune to open G and play that. So I really hope this helps everybody. It's been a pleasure bringing it to you. Great song. Enjoy.